on. The joys of going live, right? So anyway, we are back. And today, what I want to talk to you about is exhaustion, and sharing with you 5 tips, 5 ideas for you to overcome that exhaustion and to get back in control. So if you are watching me over on YouTube, make sure to follow the button below, subscribe to this channel. I'd love to see you on this channel. Hit that bell so that you can get the announcements when we go live. And if you are interested in hearing a whole heap of more from me, getting tips, worksheets, additional videos, then jump on over to my private Facebook group called the Be Brilliant Networking Lounge. I would love to see you over there. It's a great community of incredible business owners, business executives that are all working towards becoming better versions of themselves and becoming even more awesome. I keep getting an announcement that there's something going on with the stream, but anyway, I am going to keep going. So we are talking today all about how to get back in control. How to get back in control when you're struggling with exhaustion. Let me just jump on over to Instagram because I'd love to get those people on here too. And if you're listening, make sure you say hi. Let me know where you're from, where you're dialing in from today. Let me know if you're feeling exhausted. I'd love to see you online. And if you have any questions, you let me know. Right, I am just popping over to turn on the Instagram live stream, and we are go. So here we go. We are live. Hello, peeps. Hello, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you are listening to me from. Hi. Make sure to say hi. If you have any questions, throw them my way. And I'd love to know where you're listening in from. Dean Garner here. Today, what I want to talk about is exhaustion, and I want to share with you 5 ideas for getting back in control. Now, here in Sydney right now, I'm in lockdown once again. This is the 3rd lockdown for me in the last 15 months. I was lucky enough to get locked down here at Christmas and here again. And it's been a strange year, hasn't it? And this strange year seems to be fueling so many levels of exhaustion that we've actually not experienced before. Holidays are being cancelled, timeouts being cancelled, our daily habits are being challenged. Our working life is changing. In fact, how we're working is changing. And all of this stuff is almost contributing to different levels of exhaustion than we've ever felt before. Only last week, I was talking to some clients of mine who are actually senior leaders in a corporate organization, senior female leaders. Every single one of them, it was a conversation about being on the brink of burnout. It was a conversation around, I am so exhausted, Janine. I have never worked harder than I have. Than I've worked in this last 12 months. And this constant demand to get stuff done is never ending. And yet we're trying to do stuff in a very different environment. So in organizations, my clients are almost overwhelmed with the amount of work that they've got to do, irrespective of the fact that they're trying to juggle working from home, irrespective of the fact that they're working more online now than ever before. And irrespective of the fact that budgets are being cut and headcounts are being cut, they're actually doing more. At the same time, those clients that I'm working with that are business owners, they're working harder than they've ever done before. They're working harder than they've ever done before to keep their head above water, to keep the money coming in, to ensure that those dreams that they started out with don't go unmet, to make sure that they are literally keeping their head above water, to keep the money coming in, to service their clients, to ensure that they actually have a business. So if you're following me, if you're watching this right now, maybe in the chat box, just put, are you a business owner or are you executive? And does this concept of exhaustion resonate? I reckon there's 3 types of exhaustion that we're experiencing. I reckon we're exhausted with being exhausted. I reckon that concept of just I'm so busy is very real. I reckon we're exhausted in being stretched in multiple directions. We've almost just got too much on, and we're being stretched between work and home and looking after ourselves and looking after other people, and a client demands and supply demands and leader demands and everybody demands, and we're stretched between actually giving out so much to other people and at the same time doing stuff for ourselves. I also think we're exhausted with the amount of choice that we have got. And irrespective of the fact that right now we may feel like the choice has been taken away from us with some things, the reality is never before in our existence have we had as much choice as we're experiencing now. Hey there, so we've got someone on that's a business owner, and this exhaustion is real, right? This exhaustion is absolutely real. Now, here's the thing, right? Exhaustion, being busy, is not leadership. Being busy and exhausted isn't inspiring to other people. And being busy and exhausted, where you feel like you actually can't even see the wood for the trees anymore, and you're just doing and you're creating, isn't creating the levels of leadership that we're needing in our own businesses to inspire our teams, to inspire our clients, to inspire our industry, and then let's just bring it closer to home, to inspire those family members that are watching how we're doing. So the reality is exhaustion is real. Now, the only people that can sort this out are you. You have got to get to a point where you go, I am out of control. This exhaustion is real, and I've actually got to get back in control. I know I felt it. I felt it multiple times in the last 15 months. I felt it running my own business now. I felt it where I've just not been able to take that time off to reset and rejuvenate. I felt it as a result of jumping from Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting. I felt it as a result of constantly changing diaries and demands. I felt it in terms of trying to innovate, trying to be agile to make sure that our business also continues to grow and evolve over this crazy period of time. And whilst I've been building gaps between stuff to try and reset, every single time I've had to come back to these 5 ideas, these 5 principles that I use in my own business to help myself get back in control. These strategies I share with my private clients, these strategies I share with business owners, I share them with the corporate executives I'm working with. And because I've had so many calls this week and so many conversations this week, it's about time I jumped online and shared with you. So it's okay. Here's the thing, right? It is okay to feel shitty. It is okay to go, I've had enough of this. It is okay to go, I am so freaking exhausted, I can't even get out of bed. What is not okay is not doing something about it, because if you don't, it is going to be this never-ending spiral to the bottom. So you've got to get back in control. So here's my tips. Hey, Ral, being busy all the time serves no one well. Absolutely, Ral. So here's 5 tips that I want to share with you. They're really simple ideas, but they're things that I've seen in my clients that they're just not doing. So the first tip, the first thing I want you to get curious about is, how are you managing your inputs? I want you to imagine that you've got this Jetson bubble around you and you're inside that bubble. Here's the thing, it is entirely up to you what you let inside that bubble. The thing is, we let so much stuff inside that bubble that isn't serving us any purpose. We're letting negative media, we're letting 11 o'clock news releases giving us the update on COVID, we're letting social media feeds, we're letting negativity, we're letting people that make us feel crappy about ourselves, we're letting emails after emails come into our Jetson bubble that actually is fueling the overwhelm and the exhaustion. It's almost like, oh my God, I can't cope anymore. So I want you, first of all, to think about, how can you manage your inputs? How can you make sure that you are hanging tightly to that Jetson bubble that's surrounding you, and you've got to guard that bubble. It's entirely up to you who you let in and what you let in. midway through last year when COVID was going mental, I felt like every morning I was waking up feeling negative, feeling down, feeling quite dark about the road ahead. And I realized that what I had done is let far too many negative influences enter into my own Jetson bubble. And I had to take this moment of ownership and go, okay, Janine, enough. You got to put this Jetson bubble around you. And I've got to decide and take ownership as to what I let into that bubble and what I'm going to keep out. So number one, manage your inputs. The second thing is the flip side of that. The second thing that we have to manage is our outputs. Here's the thing, right? Every single one of us wants to feel like we are doing work worth doing, like our work matters, like we are actually doing something purposeful. Every single one of us wants to feel like the stuff we are doing matters. When we feel like we're just treading water, or we're doing the shitty stuff, or we're just doing, the Billy Basic admin, and we're not actually stepping forward, that's actually when we start feeling down on ourselves as well. So one of the things, the second thing to do when I talk about managing that, managing the exhaustion, getting back in control, is getting really clear on what your outputs are going to be every single day. Now, I'm not talking about the shitty bitty admin stuff. What I'm talking about is every single day, set yourself one critical output that is going to make you feel good about yourself and help your own individual boat move faster. Your outputs could be personal. It could be that run or going to the gym or eating healthy food. And it can be business related. So it could be writing that blog, making that important phone call, getting that proposal over the line. Like what is this critical output that you need to deliver on that's going to make you feel good, so that at the end of the day, when you're reflecting over the day, you go, God, that was awesome. I had a really good day. I got something done. Not one of those days where you go, actually, I have no idea what I've done today. I've done a lot of stuff, but I've not actually moved forward. So number two is manage your outputs. If you're following this live, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Message me, comment in the chat box. We're talking about 5 ways to get back in control when you're feeling exhausted, when you're feeling like you're at the brink of burnout, which I'm seeing so much of. So far I've shared tip number 1. It's about managing your inputs, what you're letting inside that Jetson bubble of yourself. Number 2 is about managing your outputs. Now, number 3 is about managing your sanctuary. Managing your sanctuary. Every single one of us has something in our world that we know when we do it, it makes us feel great. The challenge with the world that we're in right now, whether you're in lockdown or not in lockdown, whether work has changed or not has changed, the reality is for so many of us, our sanctuary has been eaten into. It may be that your sanctuary was the gym and you can no longer go. It may be that the sanctuary is home and suddenly you've got every man and his dog at home and you're trying to manage the kids, husbands, lovers, partners, all at the same time, and you've actually got no sanctuary anymore. The sanctuary may have been the walk around the block that suddenly is not as much fun. Your sanctuary may have been the coffee shop down the road from work. The sanctuary may be the corner of your house where you meditate. We have to learn to manage our sanctuary, and one way or another, you have to take ownership of what that sanctuary is for you. So for me, I have a chair in my bedroom. It sits under a beautiful plant. There's a candle on there. I know that when I'm starting to feel stressed or exhausted or can't see the wood for the trees or brain fog, if I go and sit on that chair for 10, 15 minutes, my sanctuary, and I protect it, and my family know not to come in, then I can feel good about myself. It's the same thing with my morning gym sessions. Getting outside in the fresh air before the family wakes up is my sanctuary. It's my time to set myself up for the day. The challenge that we've got right now is so many of us let our sanctuaries go. We let that wonderful thing that resets us and rejuvenates us go, and then we wonder why we feel like we've got no time to ourselves, why we're exhausted, why we're so busy giving to everyone else. So it's really important that for each of you, you manage your sanctuary. Identify what that sanctuary is for you, protect that piece of sanctuary, and manage it. Now, I have had clients in the past that said to me, but Janine, that sounds like really selfish. That sounds so selfish to say to my family or my partner that this is my space and don't go anywhere near it. I actually say it's selfish not to. Because if you're not operating at your best, if you're not feeling like you've got the space to think, the space to create, the space to make decisions, the space to respond without going emotionally over the top, then that actually is the selfish thing to do. So it's not selfish to manage your sanctuary. It's so important that you find these snippets in your day, these gaps in the day, to make sure that you're functioning at your very best. You are responsible for other people. You're responsible for your team, your clients, your suppliers, your company, your family. You're responsible for that stuff. And you know, like that old analogy from the plane where the oxygen goes down, the mask comes down, and the air hostesses say, attach the oxygen mask to yourself first. It's the same thing. You've got to look after yourself by managing your sanctuary. So that is tip number 3. So we've gone through manage your inputs, manage your outputs, manage your sanctuary. The fourth one is you've got to manage the people around you. Those of you that know my work know I am passionate about building an inner circle of you. And this inner circle, these confidants are so important. When the shit is hitting the fan, when you're feeling exhausted, when it feels like you can't see the way through, when it feels like you don't know what to do next, when it feels like you are drowning, then the most important thing you can do is manage your confidants, manage those people around you in terms of reach out, ask for help, connect with them. You know what? We are more connected than ever before, and yet we're disconnected in here. We're disconnected in here. We're connected virtually, but we are disconnected in our heads in the way that we are reaching out to people. So when you're feeling busy and exhausted, reach out to your confidants, reach out to that inner circle, ask them for help. Be honest about how you're feeling. Ask them for their input. Ask them for their advice. Your confidants, the people around you, are critical to your growth. They're critical to your sanity. They're critical to your health and well-being. That inner circle, that inner sanctum of confidants is so important to you. And yet, when we are busy, when we're exhausted, when we're busy trying to get through our to-do lists, our project plans, responding to emails, going from Zoom after Zoom after Zoom, we forget about the very, very people that feed our soul, that fuel our energy, that help us and make us believe we are capable of so much more. So tip number 4 is managing your confidence. So we're going through today the 5 ways to get back in control when you are feeling exhausted and at of burnout. If you're watching this on replay, just press replay and ask any questions. I'm absolutely happy to jump in later to answer those. The 5 tips so far we've covered off: managing your inputs. The second thing I've talked about is managing your outputs. The third thing I've talked about is managing your sanctuary. And the 4th thing I've talked about is managing your confidence. Hi to everyone that's following me and joining and listening to me on Instagram, Melinda Cruz. Wonderful to see you. And if there is any chat on other channels, let me just chat away, tag me, and I can see it. So let's move on to the 5th one. Number 5, we have to manage the things we say yes to. Manage the yeses and start saying no a little bit more. This fundamentally is how we reset our boundaries, right? Too many of us are saying yes, 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 yes to everything and anything. We're saying yes to opportunities. We're saying yes to people wanting meetings. We're saying yes to taking on things on our to-do list from somebody else's. We're saying yes, yes, yes too often, and yet deep inside we're going, I really don't want to do this. I know you know what I'm talking about. Here's the thing, right? Every single thing you say yes to has an opportunity cost. It has an opportunity cost. We are limited in terms of our working time each day. Everything you say yes to is costing you in terms of energy, in terms of focus, in terms of time, potentially in terms of revenue. Everything you say yes to has a cost. What you have to decide is whether you are saying yes to the right stuff. Because here's what happens. When you say yes to stuff that actually isn't helping you move your boat quicker, that actually isn't fueling your energy in a positive way, that actually is adding to the exhaustion, it's costing you time, energy, focus, money. We're actually diverting that time, energy, focus, money, potentially from the very thing we should be doing to the thing that actually we shouldn't be doing. So you've got to start managing the yeses. Now, I know it's hard. So many of my clients are going, oh my God, Janine, I know I need to, but I can't. It's so tricky. What is the cost to you, though, of not saying no more often? Of not saying no more often. Here's what I think. I reckon when you say yes too many times, you're not only letting yourself down, you're actually letting other people down. You're letting down those clients, those team members, those family members, because you're saying yes, you're taking on way too much. And as a result of that, you can't actually do anything properly. So we've got to learn to say no, or no, not right now. I haven't actually got time to do that right now, but I could do it in 3 weeks, or I can do it now. But what is the thing that you don't want me to do? What is the thing that I shouldn't do? Hey, Shane, wonderful to see you online. So we've actually got to up the ante on the no's, and we've got to take some time to every single day be intentional about what we say yes to. So what I do is I pause. I take a moment to actually think about those requests that come in via email, to look at those messages through social media, to look at those SMS messages, those text messages. And I take the time to go, can I do this right now? Have I actually got the time, the ability, the energy to do this right now, such that I can serve that other person, that project, that request in the best way possible? Or actually, by saying yes now, I'm doing that whole thing and that individual a disservice, and I need to say no, or no, not right now. So I pause. So today we've been talking about exhaustion and how actually everyone I'm speaking to is exhausted. They're busy right now. But staying exhausted isn't leadership. Staying exhausted isn't inspiring other people. Staying exhausted isn't about you being in control. So what I shared today are the 5 strategies I use for myself to help me make sure I am doing the right things at the right time. Those strategies are, first of all, managing your inputs. Secondly, managing your outputs every single day. Thirdly, managing your sanctuary. Fourthly, managing, is that such a word? Fourth, managing your confidence. And finally, number 5, managing your yeses, what you're saying yes to. I'd love to hear your comments below. I'd love to hear which one resonated the most for you. And today, why don't you get curious about which one of those 5 you actually need to put a bit more effort into and become more intentional about, to give you that little bit of time so that you can make sure you are continuously operating and leading and functioning at your very best. Been awesome to see you online. If you've got any questions, message away, and I will be back in a few days. Take care.